Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again, and I wasn't scheduled to do this video. I am going to do this video for the simple fact that I've been receiving so many messages, so many emails, and so many comments where people are asking me to get back involved in the Jay Slater case. Now, I'm going to tell you straight from the top that I don't believe in what's been said in court. And it's one of the reasons why I took a step back from the case, because I was thinking there's no way, based on all of the information and the evidence that we have, that it wasn't used, that it wasn't looked at, that nothing was actually done to get justice for Jay. That's the truth. Nothing was done to get justice. Warren and Debbie walked in there with a barrister, and the barrister done nothing. I spoke to Warren leading up to the inquest, and I sent Warren a final message just after the inquest. He never responded to the final message. I did mention in that same message that I wasn't expecting a response. However, I did let him know that I was slightly frustrated that after everything that we had done, none of what we had done had been used. Everything was brushed aside. What I told Warren a few months ago was going to happen is exactly what happened. There's so many things that have come out of the inquest as well that give us even more ammunition to prove that these guys are liars. To prove that these guys have come together to corroborate a story, to make it make sense as to why Jay went to an Airbnb and why Jay left the Airbnb. But ultimately, Jay never went to that Airbnb alive. Whatever happened to Jay happened shortly after Papagayo nightclub and before getting into Abe's car. If everything was genuine, and Jay was a genuine missing person, there would have been no need for people to continue to lie and manipulate the way people are thinking and feeling and what they're believing online. There would have been no need for them to do that. There would have been no need for Brandon to not come forward and give us a full transparent story as to what happened after the NRG festival and leading up to being at that B&B. There would have been no need for him to hide. There would have been no need for all of the things that have happened that have come out of this case. There would have been no need for it if all of this was just a genuine missing persons case. But it was never genuine, was it? Because Jay was never missing. Jay was in fact dead, and they knew Jay was dead, and they put together this story to prevent certain people from going to jail. Now look, I'm not here to talk about the story. I've literally put it to a full stop. And the reason I have put it to a full stop is because I was creating content and trying to understand what happened to Jay Slater on behalf of the family. I wasn't creating content to milk it and make money off of it. That wasn't the focus. The focus for the months and months and months that we were connecting dots, that we were putting theories together, trying to understand the narrative, trying to understand everything that comes of this case, we were doing it for the sake of the family because we wanted to ensure that the family got the answers that they wanted. That is ultimately the reason why I consistently dug deep in this case. I was encouraged to do so by Warren. I was also encouraged to do so by some of Jay's friends. And that's the reason why I continued to make content to understand what truly happened. I knew ultimately it was down to the family to get justice. And unfortunately, the likes of Warren, the likes of Debbie, in my opinion, were manipulated to think and believe a certain thing. The outcome of this case was engineered. And there's multiple explanations as to why it was engineered. Multiple reasons as to why it was engineered. Right now, there's multiple question marks, multiple red flags. I mean, there's even decisions that were made by the family that I also question. But it's those decisions that make me believe they were played. This whole narrative was engineered to make it look like it was just an accident. However, the information and the evidence is there available. It just needs someone to investigate it. And voila, at the end of that investigation, you're only going to come to one conclusion. And that conclusion is there was foul play involved that led up to the death of Jay Slater. Again, there's so many things from the inquest that enables us to connect dots. Things that Abe said, which are total fabrications, total lies. And I just don't understand how the barrister and all the people that sat in that court didn't see none of the red flags from the inquest itself. Bearing in mind, it was a 3-day inquest, and none of them noticed the red flags. None of them. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the 12 to 13 months of covering the Jay Slater case, for me, the main focus was getting the truth for the family. Because I personally believe something sinister happened to Jay. I personally think the family feel that way, but over the months, they've been manipulated to believe a certain narrative. The moment Debbie read out that message in the inquest, I knew our time was up, and that was the reason why I decided at that point, I will no longer be covering the Jay Slater case. Ironically, 3 days later, Warren put that video out on his TikTok account, asking people to stop talking about Jay. And that also made me feel a type of way because he mentioned in that TikTok video that they've seen the evidence and they believe it was just an accident. Again, this video is just to answer your questions and respond to your comments and let you more or less know the reasons why I'm not covering the Jay Slater case. One last thing I do want to mention before I wrap this video up, ladies and gentlemen, is one way I know that Abe and the rest of the gang are a bunch of liars is the fabricated picture of Jay in the back of the car. The picture that was revealed in the inquest was a fabricated picture 110%. You've got to ask yourself this: why would Ayub need to get out of the car and take a picture of Rocky with an empty seat in the back? Because that's what that picture originally was. It was Rocky sleeping with an empty seat in the back. Why the need for that picture? And why the need to then take a video? Bearing in mind, Jay's not even in the video. But then why the need to only release the audio? So you detach the audio from the video, originally showed us the audio, then showed us the video 4 or 5 months later on a podcast with Cullen, and then you waited all the way until the inquest, which is a whole 12 to 13 months later, to finally reveal a picture of Jay in the back of the car smiling. See, it's such a coincidence how that picture was revealed at the final day of the inquest, whilst I'm applying a lot of pressure about the picture of Jay in the back of the car and Ayub being the guy to have taken that picture. You now have Ayub revealing a picture from an angle where Rocky is sleeping and Jay is just peeping his head out, smiling, absolutely smiling. See, the thing is about that picture, ladies and gentlemen, not only does it not look like the Jay that was in the picture in the back of the car where he said he's off to sell the AP for 10 quid. Have you not looked at both of those Jays? They're not the same person. The Jay in the back of the car claiming to sell the AP does not look like the same Jay that was in the picture smiling behind Rocky. It doesn't look like the same person. See, that picture where Jay's smiling in the back of the car and Rocky's sleeping, that in fact looks like Jay. Here we have another problem, ladies and gentlemen, a problem that nobody has actually identified, that nobody has looked at, and nobody has mentioned whatsoever, including the professionals, the people that was in the inquest. What you've got to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is look at the picture of Jay smiling in the back of the car and tell me that's the Jay that we see earlier on that night waved out of his face. You tell me that's the Jay that's been taking MDMA, cocaine, and ketamine, smiling away, all happy, hunky-dory. Nothing wrong here, nothing to see here. I'm fine. Yeah, I went to the Airbnb with Ayub and Rocky. I don't know who they are, but I was smiling. I got out the car with Ayub, took a picture of me whilst I was in the back of the car just to confirm I was there. Then he went to the front of the car and he zoomed in and out whilst no one else was in the frame. No one else was in the video, just Rocky. Although we drove up, we reversed in, all of the lights are on in the car. Rocky still hasn't woken up yet. No. We've been able to get out of the car. Ayub's taking pictures and videos, and Rocky still hasn't woken up yet. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it proves that it was premeditated. Ayub knew he was going to need that picture at a later date. And as I told you guys months ago, with the evidence that Ayub has fabricated, he's more or less been playing blackjack. He's been withholding evidence, letting people chat. He waited all the way until the inquest, and that one little thing got the case closed. And that was a fake picture of Jay smiling in the back of the car. And another reason why you know it's a fake picture, ladies and gentlemen, is because all you got to do is look at Jay's eyes. Look at Jay's eyes in that picture. That isn't a person that took 15 vodka shots. That isn't a person that was drinking Henny. That isn't a person that was on MDMA. That isn't a person that was on cocaine. That isn't a person that was on ketamine. That picture of Jay in the back of the car is a person that was just about to start their night. They're just literally about to start their night. That person's probably just smoking a spliff, had 1 drink, 2 drinks, and he's just about to start his night. And they've made it look like that's Jay going to the Airbnb. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, Ayub pulled the wool over our eyes. And bravo. Like I told you in one of my recent videos, Ayub was the only person that really needed to turn up, because Ayub's the person that has the fabricated evidence. Rocky doesn't need to be there. He doesn't have the evidence. Brandon doesn't need to be there. He doesn't have the evidence. Ayub's the one that has the fabricated video. Ayub's the one that had the fabricated audio. Ayub's the one that had the fabricated picture of Jay smiling in the back of the car off the back of me putting pressure on him, because we had the original picture of Jay saying that he's on his way to sell this AP, with Ayub taking that picture. And this is the reason why he had to find a way to get that picture of Jay smiling in the back of the car. That's literally it, ladies and gentlemen. There's no point in going any further. The only people that could get justice for Jay was Warren and Debbie. The moment Warren and Debbie said, "We are happy with what we heard. We've looked at the evidence. We believe it's an accident," that was the moment this was all over. Done. Kalas. Kaput. Finish. Being a person that's observant, being a person that understands how to read the room, being a person that knows how to read between the lines, the moment I heard their statement was the moment I knew it's over. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, as I've always stuck by, is doing right by the family. An investigation like this was always going to be wild. People were going to be accused. A lot of assumptions, a lot of speculations, a lot of opinions were going to be shared. But ultimately, we were doing this not because of our own egos. We were doing this because we wanted justice and the truth for the family. But now they've found their closure, ladies and gentlemen. It's time we do the same. Even though we know there are multiple red flags and we could be here for the next 5 to 10, 15 videos talking about Jay Slater, talking about the red flags, talking about the contradictions, talking about the inconsistencies, ultimately, it's going to get us nowhere. So again, I thought I'll just do this video to respond to your messages, respond to the comments, respond to the emails, because there has been quite a lot of them, to let you guys know that it's over. We have to move on. I know there's a number of content creators out there that are still trying to understand what truly happened to Jay, and I do wish them all the best of luck. At this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, unless Warren and Debbie have a change of heart, the case is over. All we could do now, ladies and gentlemen, is let J. Dean Slater rest in peace.